So on your assessment, I went ahead and set up the problems. I'll talk a little bit about why the rule that's been chosen here is the correct rule. So when we talked about law of sines and law of cosines, initially I said the easiest way to determine which rule to use is, do you have a complete pair, and the pair is the angle is paired up with its opposite side, and you have both numbers. If you have both numbers, it's law of sines. If you don't have both numbers, like in problem number 1, it's law of cosines. So the 41 gets paired up with the AB side, or x. We don't have the length of AB, so we don't have a complete pair. So the problem looks a lot like the Pythagorean theorem. It's a squared plus b squared minus 2ab. The cosine of c equals c squared. So the c squared, the way we end the equation, is the side that's opposite the angle that we're working with. And then the other two sides, in this case 29 and 13, are the a and the b. So the easiest way to do this problem is just to enter the entire problem in as one long problem, because there's no variables. So it's just one big long math problem. And then once we have that answer, then we can work from there to find out what x equals. So when you work that problem out, you'll get 440.9489765. To find x, we'll take the square root of that number. So x ends up being approximately equal to 20.999. So in problem 2, if you match up the angle with its opposite side, this time we do have a complete pair. The 44-degree angle goes to the 7. So that makes this problem a law of sines. So it's the sine of 44 degrees over its opposite side, 7, is equal to the sine of 53 degrees over its opposite side, which is, I'm using x for AB. To solve a proportion, we always cross multiply. As I talked about this in class, how many of you like to work in fractions? And basically all of you said no, and so the way to eliminate the fractions here is to cross multiply. And then to be able to find the value of x, we divide both sides by the sine of 44 degrees to get x by itself. When turning this into a decimal number, you might find that first finding the numerator first, and then dividing that answer by the sine of 44 degrees might eliminate some mistakes. Calculators are all programmed differently. So the final answer here is 8.048. So I would encourage you to look at the problems on your test, or going back and revisit the problems and then play the video and redo the problems. Also, I put a sketch in your activity for today that's from GeoGebra, and it's basically an app that I wrote that provides you an unlimited amount of practice problems. And if you click on the hint problem or hint button, it actually will show you how to do those problems if you want to continue practicing law of sines, law of cosines. So in problem number 3, again, we have a pair. 88 degrees gets paired up with the 26 side, which makes this a law of sines problem. So sine of 88 degrees over 26 equals the sine of our missing angle, b, over 16.1. So the first step is to cross multiply. And then this time, instead of dividing by the sine, we're actually going to be dividing by 26 so that we can get the sine by itself. So in doing this problem, I would recommend finding that decimal number for the left side, the 16.1 times the sine of 88 degrees, divided by 26. So the answer here is about 0.618853.551. So to get to the b which is the angle, we have to get rid of sine. So we talked about when doing these problems originally, to get rid of the sine, we are going to use its inverse. So inverse sine of sine basically cancels each other out. So the inverse sine of 0.6188535551, that will be the angle measurement for B. So the answer is approximately 38.232 degrees. So in the last problem, we're looking for angle B. And so if I pair up the numbers, angle with opposite sides, we don't have a pair. Therefore, it's the law of cosines. Angle B and 9 will be opposite each other in the equation, since we're looking for angle B. So that means the A and the A squared plus B squared, that's going to be the 16 and the 14. So this problem is a little bit different than the previous problem. So in doing this problem, my recommendation is, first of all, find the answers to the multiplication and the exponent problems. So 6 squared is 36, 14 squared is 196. 6 times 2 times the 14 is 168, times the cosine of B equals 81. So if I follow the order of operations, this becomes 232 minus 168 cosine of B, this is the multiplication problem, equals 81. Now we cannot subtract the 232 and the 168 because multiplication is a higher order than the subtraction problem. So this is where simplifying ends and solving the equation begins. So the next step is we're going to subtract away 232 from both sides and make this a 0. So we have 168 times the cosine of B equals 81 minus 232. So that's negative 151. We have a multiplication problem, so that means to get rid of the negative 168, we need to divide both sides by negative 168, and that will leave us with the cosine of B. And so the cosine of B is going to be approximately 0.898809.5 and 24 if you add in the last two digits. To get to the measurement of angle B, we need to get rid of cosine, so that means we're going to do inverse cosine to both sides. So B is going to be the inverse cosine of the 0.898809.5 so we end up with 25.998 degrees. So if you have questions, let me know. I would encourage you to consider using that GeoGebra app as a way of practicing before your retake, which will be on Monday. So in terms of scoring the assessment, problems 1, 2, and 3 were 8 points each, and problem number 4 was worth 6 points. I went ahead and made problem 4 2 points less than the other two, because I generally find that students will make, if they're going to make a mistake, it's going to be in this problem, part of the problem right here, where they're going to do the subtraction problem and not recognize that multiplication takes precedence over the subtraction problem. So so altogether the 3 8s and the 6 for problem 4 makes 30 points. So your assessment, if you are receiving it, a digital copy of it by It's Learning, that's how each problem was scored.